Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. So today we'll talk about that people integrations, actual implementations. So in the last video I talked about that the people client side have a limitation that you need to have some UI platform. But today we'll actually do all the integration stuffs through the API only. We are not doing any client side code. Okay. So first of all, to do that, I am using the ServiceNow platform here, and then as I mentioned that this code will be do completely API based. Okay. So if I open any of my patient record, this is my patient record. This patient record already have a payment, so I cannot see my pay button right now. So if you see, this payment is not yet done. The patient status is just now this payment status, and the payment reference number is read only. So what you have to do, suppose you are going to make a payment the $400 and then click the pay, it will redirect you to that actually the PayPal account details, the PayPal account page where you can make a payment. So I am clicking that here pay. Now you can see it is asking me to make a payment of $400 because that page we have defined the 400. If I refresh my sandbox account right now, my balance is 2100 rupee dollar. So now if I click a make payment, it will redirect me to the ServiceNow UI page. From there it will do actual payment and redirect me to the actual record where you can see the payment status is right now checked and the payment reference number is showing and the pay button is gone. So let's get started how we can do that. So first of all, to build that people API, it have a several steps. So first of all, if I go to the Postman, we are calling three API. First of all, get token. Secondly, we are calling the make payment, and thirdly, we are calling the accept payment. So three API call we are doing. So let's first make that API available into the ServiceNow first. So you have to go to the REST message. Under the REST message, you need to create a REST message here. So our case, we are going to create a REST message called people, and here we are going to put the endpoint. So copy this endpoint and paste here. Once you submit that, it will be generate a default method which is available in the below sections. So go back and open that default method. So copy this updated endpoint and go back to here and then paste here the endpoint. Okay, and then select that authentication type from inherited from parent to basic and open a icon, glass icon, and here we need to create a new profile called people, and here you need to put the username. So username is nothing but the client ID. Copy that and paste here, and then the client secret, copy and then paste here. After successfully put username password as a basic authentic basic profile, and then once it is done, click the test. So first of all, you can see that there is a one error happens, that is the username password combo error. So go back to your previous case. First of all, change this name to get token, and then the method should be post, because if you see my method is the post in the Postman, so change the method equal to post, and then update this API and click the test again. So once you click the test, you can see you are getting a response with a JSON body. So we need to, from this JSON body, we need to collect the access token, and then that token will need to be used in a different purpose. Right. So first of all, this API building is done. So PayPal have right now one method called get token. We need to create few more tokens. So let's create a new method. So this time if I go here, the method is make payment, right? So let's make that make payment. Method is post. Here we need to put the endpoint. So let's copy this and paste endpoint, and this time the authentication we are setting the no authentication, and then copy this body and paste here. Okay, and then what we have to select the header, we have to select the authorization, and the value should be for our case is barrier then the token. So copy this barrier then dollar token and save that. Now we have to check two things. If I scroll down this the content, we have a total price. This is the total price. We need to change that and replace with some character called total, and here is the subtotal that we need to be replace that. So we will put that total, and then if I see there is a invoice number, so we need to change that, and then what we have to do, we have to change the quantity equal to 1 and the price we are just changing to that total. Okay, so what we are doing, it means that so total price is the total price, the subtotal we are setting subtotal, and here so we'll put the one items with the same value. Okay, and then here we can put that item description, so we'll put that item descriptions, and then finally these two will update later. So just save that and right click and click auto generate variable. So it will be generate few variables in the bottoms. You can see token is generated, total generated, item description and invoice. These four value right now generated. Now go back to your PayPal again. So right now we created two methods, and the last method we have to declare called accept payment. Copy this value and create one more method called accept payment. Here the method will be post and the endpoint will be this one payment ID. So we'll replace with that payment ID. Okay, and then save that. And this is our body that we have to pass. So in the content we'll paste this one, and then we'll copy this value and replace the same one. Also in the header we need to do the same thing that we have done for earlier. So in the make payment we copy this authorization, copy that value and paste here as a authorization, and the value should be barrier token. Copy that one and paste here. So our three API right now is ready. We need to then make a call one by one and check that it is working perfectly fine or not. So now I open the get token and click the test, it will give me a token, right? So let me copy this token first of all. So the token value is, this is the access token value. Copy this value and go back to that, and I am going to open that make payment API so that I can be able to see, or I can be able to make a payment. So opening a make a payment API, going back to the authorization section, and make sure that you have not selected any type of token. So you can select, you can see that I have selected the no authorizations. So scroll down here. First of all, token, I will put the test value equal to this one. Payment, I am putting that 100.00. Item description test, and invoice, I'll put that number equal to 12333. So after you selected that invoice number, you have to be make sure that under this header HTTP status content type you have selected application slash JSON. Now if you scroll down and click the test, it should give you a response as a, this is the payment ID you are getting, and you have a two types of URL, that is the approved URL. So you need to collect this approved URL and then you need to redirect them to a actual endpoint. Okay, so now we are going to create a script include, going back and creating a script include called people API, and then I am making this script include client callable, and then click save. Now here I am going to create a function called get token. The function I have declared the get token. Now if I go back to that our REST message, so now we are in the get token method. This is the get token method, which is the post method. If I scroll down and click the preview script uses, it will give me a code which is auto generated code. Copy this code and go back and paste here. Remove this commented code and make, click here and click the format code, so it will format a code. So here is the thing, this is the response body we are getting, and then from there what we need, if you see this JSON, what we need basically the access token, this value. So let's go back. So return, first we will do the return response body. So JSON dot parse response body dot key name access token. Along with that, what we need basically, we need in a JSON format, in a array format, we need one more value here, the status. So copy here, paste here. So we are sending in an array, one is the status, another is the access token. So let's get save that one, these functions. Now if I go back to our background script and type gs.info and then new script include name and then function name and run script. So you can see it is giving me 200 and this is my access token. So this function is right now ready. So if I go to the postman, the first API call is ready, second API call, we need to make that. So go back to our make payment. This is the second API, which is make payment. Go back to that make payment method and click the previous create uses right now. And here it will return you again a sample code. Copy this code and go back to our these functions, and here you create a function called make payment and put the function keyword, and in this case we'll paste this code and remove all these commented line and do a semicolon, control A and click the format code. So now this time you see that here is the token that is will get from the previous functions. So parameter will pass as a token first parameter and remove this uh, static value with the parameter value. Second is item descriptions. Copy that and paste here, and then dynamically build that invoice, copy that and paste as a parameter and make this as a variable, and then the total and copy that, paste here. So that's how so these functions have four parameter right now, and also this parameter will return me the same thing. Okay, so this parameter will return me the HTTP status. So this parameter we need, if I go to that postman, so this parameter is return me a lot of things, but we need the links. We need the links. So go back and replace access token with the links, control A and do a format coding. Okay, so this parameter will require four value, four basically parameters whenever we are going to call. So just save these functions again. So after creating these make payment functions, we are going to create one more function called process payment, and this time we are actually going to call these two API together. So for that we are going to create that some parameter here. So we'll copy all these stuff till this part and paste here, and what it will do that this function will do that this function will first call these get token functions. So where token, this will uh, call the first function. So and secondly, after receiving this data, it will call the another function called return this function, and the first parameter will be token dot one, and copy this whole code. Now here I am going to put one more extra condition that token 0 equal to 200, then only this function will return, otherwise it will return me 400 and fail. Okay, so the make process payment is doing two things. It will first call the get token, and if the response is 200, it will be make a payment. It will call a make payment function. Otherwise, it will return me the 400. Just save this one. Now go back to your background script and declare a variable called var a new. The script include name Then the second functions, the process payment. And now this process payment have three parameter basically: item description, invoice, and total. Pass that. And now just see what we are receiving inside the A. So you can see we are getting a error called make payment is not defined, because we need to put the this dot make payment function. So just save that, go back, and then try to run again. So it is return me 201 and this object of three objects. So let's review that one. JSON dot stringify. Inside that I want to see the second parameter and run this. So now you can see it is returning me all this URL. Okay. So it means that our this function is ready. Now we have to go back any of these applications. So this is my one of the application. I'm going to create a UI actions. So whenever you click the UI action, it will call this to API and redirect you. So I am going to create a UI action called pay under this patient record, form button, the order is 200, and client callable. And here we need to create a function called process payment, and these functions we have to define here. And I am not doing anything for the time being, I am just putting the alert and clicking save. So it means whenever we will click that pay button for the time being, it will just give me a alert. Now from these pay functions or pay UI actions, we need to call the script include. We need to call this script include. So after creating this UI action, the next step is to create a new sections called payment, and then that sections have a few information. So I'm going to go to right click configure, and from designer I'm going to create a sections called payment, and in these sections there will be few fields. So now this payment status will be true or false once after your payment is completed. So in this UI action, I just made a modification first of all, and then in the script include, I have little bit modified. So let's discuss those points to minimize the timeline. So what I did, so previously if the script include, if you see, we are calling this script include from the background script called new process payment, and then we are passing this value, right? And it was returning some URLs, right? So we did the same things, but it's a client side. We cannot directly call the new and then this script include name. What I did, I used the glide Ajax. So what the glide Ajax did in details, if you want to know, go and watch my previous video. I'll put that links in my description. So in the glide Ajax, we are calling that first of all, this script include, the script include name is the PayPal API, nothing but, and then the function name we are calling as a process payment function. So this is the process payment function. And what all things we are passing number as a item description. Invoice we are passing as a INV, then the number, and then we are passing the total, and that is the total amount value, and then again we are passing another number value that we will receive, we'll reuse that. Now if you go back to the script include, what I did, the item description, you can see, and this one I just put that this dot get parameter sysparam item des. So nothing but whatever value we are passing here we are receiving, and we are just replacing their value. One is the item description, invoice, total, and the number. These are the value we are just storing. That value are passing from the UI action, we are just storing in the script include and make passing that. Along with that, we are just now taking the second parameter which will return me the URL. So now in the patient record, if we click the pay button, so it should return me a JSON format with the multiple URLs. So this is the URLs. If I go back to the Postman, you guys remember that whenever we are creating a make payment call, we are getting the three URLs. First is the get, second is the redirect, and the third we are receiving as a execute one, right? So we should take the second one, right? So if I go back, I am also getting the three URLs. So what I have to do in this UI actions, so I have to do a where result equal to JSON dot parse, and here I should put the RSP, and then what I have to put the as a alert, the result dot one, because I want to pick the second one, so the array started with always the 0, so I'll take the second index, and what is the key, the href, so I'll take that one and save that. So now if I save here, and then if I go this record and reload, and then put some value and click the pay, it should give me a URL. So this is the actual URL where the user should be redirected. So now what we have to do, we have to go back to the UI action, and here I am going to turn off this line and type that top dot window dot location dot href, and here I need to pass this result, this one. I'll copy and paste here and end this line. Just save that and refresh our page. So what will be happens, so once I click the pay button, it will be redirect me to the PayPal, and then as per the PayPal redirect, after making the payment as per the PayPal redirect URL, it will return me back to the ServiceNow. So let's do that. Click the pay button right now. So it's redirect me that PayPal right now, and I have to put my sandbox details, and click login. Now I'll go and make a payment. After payment, it will redirect me back to the ServiceNow instance. Now the next step is that we have to create a UI page. The UI page, there is two types of UI page we have to create. One is the success page I am creating. I am not creating the cancellation page right now. So I am going to create one PayPal. This is the one page. I am going to create a UI page. So in this page, what we are going to do, that we are going to write a HTML tag called success payment, and save that. So what this UI page will do, so after making successfully payment, the page or that payment gateway will return to this page, in this page, okay. Along with that, what I am going to do that in this page, I will do that sysparam number equal to, I'll pass the that number, the patient record number, okay. So this will be my page. So copy this page, copy this URL and go back to your make payment REST message. In the HTTP section, if you remember, there was a one return URL. So I will replace this return URL with my newly created UI page. And this is my number, PRN number. This number will be dynamic value, so I will put that the record number and save that. So now this value, this record number value, we need to pass from the script, okay. So what I am going to do, I have to create one more variable for that. So copy this and click new, create a variable and submit. In this script include, we are having a few parameter. Along with that, I'll copy and paste here, and then what the parameter we have named that record number, I'll copy that and paste here, and the value we are passing as a, the same value we will pass here and then paste here. This number will pass as a fourth parameter whenever we are calling this, okay. So let's save that. I'll quickly show that how the redirect will be happen, that how it will looks like right now. So this is the hospital management. If I click pay, it will redirect me. Once I click make payment, it will redirect me to that UI page that we have created. Let's see. You can see it is redirect me on the success payment page, and then here the the number, which is nothing but actually that patient record number, and this is the payment ID, and there is a one more ID called token and then pay ID. So after you go to the success page, the final entry is that we should call another API called accept payment. This API, right, the accept payment. For that, we need to do some setup. So already the REST method was created, but we need to set that authentication type equal to, from here, content type. Here I am just setting this content type, and application slash JSON, we need to select that content type. And if I go to this value, we need to be pass the payer ID and payment ID. So if I go to the postman and just copy any of this existing one, the old one, it not give me that 200, but I just want to check that it is actually kind of working, this trace message. So this is the payment ID, and then in the body we are actually passing the payer ID. Copy that and click test message. At least it should give me some response. So you can see that payment not approved for execution, so payer has to be approved. So it means that the status we are getting 400 till now, right? So what we have to do, this method we actually have to embed it our script include. So click the preview script uses, copy this whole code and go back to our script include, and then here create one more function called accept payment, and create the function, and here we just need to be copy and paste the whole code, remove these stops, Control A and click the format. Now first of all we need to pass the token, right? To get the token, we need to copy this port again, and then once we get the token, we should pass this token 1 here, and these need two things, two value actually. One is the payer ID, another is the payer payment ID. So for that, copy these two and paste here, replace payer ID, and here okay. So now our function is ready and it have response body and HTTP status. These functions needs to be called from our UI page. So we'll get one more value called sysparam number, we'll get a number that is the actually the number of our patient record, and if HTTP status equal to 200 or HTTP status equal to 200. So if the record is 200, what we have to do, we have to query the patient record and mark that so we have to query the patient record table and mark that payment status equal to true, right? So let's do that. So what we are trying to do that, glide record, putting the table name, and then gr.add query number equal to this number, and gr.query if gr.next. And what we have to do, we have to actually update the payment status. Equal to true, and gr.update. So after update that, what we need, that we need to pass the URL, so where actually the payment, after make the payment, it can actually redirect and open the same patient record. For that, what we have to do, copy this URL, paste here, and then there put the gr.cs underscore id. So the system will return this URL to from this after you call this accept payment, it will make the payment. If the get the 200, it will call this patient record, mark that payment status equal to true, and then it will return this URL to the UI page, and then after that UI page will redirect to that page only. So now if I go back to my UI page, I have made some little bit changes. If you see right now the UI page looks like that. I have added a image, I have put some text here, and there are three text box I have created. So whatever the number I was receiving from the from the URL, like the sysparam number, say the payment ID, and then the payer ID, all I am showing in this page for the time being. Okay, I can make the hidden for that later, but I'm showing that. Okay, and then I'll go to this code. This is the UI page. So I put that rp.get parameter value, and then I put the sys param name, and this param name I am declaring one value called jfire number, and then this I am creating an input box and setting that value in a input box. Similarly, I do the payment ID and payer ID, and this is the text and this is the image that I am showing. So basically what happens, there are three input box right now, and whatever in the URL is showing, all these value are showing in our these three box. And then in the client script we are collecting these three number. One is the number, another is the payer ID, payment ID, another is the payer ID, and then we are doing a glide ajax call. So as I mentioned that from the client side, if we want to call the script include, we need to do a glide ajax call. In the glide ajax call, we are actually calling the accept payment, this method, this accept payment method, and this method needs three parameter. The first parameter is the payment ID, payer ID, and the number. So what it is doing, payment ID, payer ID, and then number. So it is calling that API, that accept API, and whatever response we are receiving, if that is 200, we just updating the payment status, and then along with that the payment reference number we have, that is we are updating the payment reference number, and we are returning that actually that pair, that record, the patient record. So we are querying here, if you see with the number, and finally we are returning with the CSID. Once we get the CSID, we are backing to that our we are receiving that the URL, complete URL, and we are redirecting back to our actual record. Okay, so if I go back to any of this payment record right now, and these have $200 right now, if I click pay, it will redirect me to that our payment page. Once you put the credential, it will ask to make a payment. So once we make this payment here, it will redirect me to that success page, and from the success page it will calculate and send a REST message call. It will call a REST message, and then it will redirect me to this actual record, which is the payment status is true, and the payment reference is the payment reference number. So that's it for today. As you can see, we have successfully integrated the PayPal with our ServiceNow integration, a ServiceNow platform. We are able to make the payment through the PayPal and redirect back to the actual platform. And from there, we are able to update the status. So if you have any question, please let me know in my comment sections. Also, I'll put all this code in my GitHub so that you can get the code and use if needed. I'll put the GitHub link in my description box. So thank you very much. Have a great day.